Something big is happening in AI, and this is an insider's wake up call. This post, or rather, this playbook is inspired by the post Something Big is Happening, which went viral on Twitter or X, had about 85 million views. And the reason that this post actually hit different about AI and not like any other hype posts out there, the difference is that people actually agreed with this particular post. You could see a lot of comments saying that, I actually relate to that, or I believe that is going to happen. And that actually made it feel more deep and more heavy in a sense. So, the reality of exponential intelligence, the collapse of the cognitive barrier, and the playbook for surviving the next 36 months is outlined in this playbook. So, we are in the this seems overblown phase of a systematic shock, much like back in early February 2020, when COVID was still very new and people were just getting warnings about it from the news that this country is getting this virus and all of that, and it's spreading very fast. But then in late March of 2020, the reality shifted. Just a month later, the impossible became the mundane reality. There was the lockdown, we had to wear masks and all of that stuff. So the gap right now in AI between public perception and an insider reality regarding AI has grown too large to ignore. So, this particular person, whose name is Matt Shumer, actually talked about how he didn't pay much attention to it until it got to a level where it's like the water has got up to his chest, and now he's just realizing how serious this is. And that's the illustration over here. And the breakthrough is that AI labs made a deliberate choice to teach AI to code fast so that AI can help build itself and make itself be better. And the new normal right now is that you describe the software that you want in plain English. So if you're a developer, or if you're even someone who just has an idea and want to build something, you just describe the software in mind in plain English, walk away for a few hours, and return to a finished, perfectly executed application. And this is something that I'm actually doing every other week, for my own softwares, for my own applications, for some clients that I'm working with as well. I am just explaining the idea, the concept in plain English, and then we take it step by step in we design the specification of the application, and then we plan the implementation of the code, how it's going to be, and then I just leave the AI to execute against the plan once I'm happy with the plan, of course. And now the implication is that software engineers were targeted first by necessity, and this is because the tech companies actually knew that if they want this technology to grow at the rates that they were targeting, they had to first make it very specialized in code. And that's why they started with software engineers, and now every other white collar profession is going to be next. And that's why someone like me who has a white collar job is really invested in AI, because I do understand the implications that it's bringing to the world and to the economy in general. So you hear a lot of people saying, AI is not that serious, it's not even that great. I tried it once and it didn't even work out. And we are way past the era where AI was just good for answers. It was just good for asking a question and getting a creative answer out of it, or drafting an email. We are at a point where the capability of AI is executing multi-day tasks autonomously, so it runs by itself without any other person even involved in it. And the interactions of AI right now is that it iterates, it tests its own work and fixes its own errors as well. And the output that you get is a very finished product demonstrating taste and judgment, not only structure. So anyone right now claiming that AI has hit a wall is evaluating an experience that is already ancient history. So now this slide is just showing us the timeline between the paradigm shifting. The breakthroughs are becoming very violently compressed into smaller time frames. So as you can see, in 2022, there was a basic failure of an AI confidently saying that 7 by 8 is 54. And in 2023, AI had got to a point where it passes the bar exam. In 2024, AI was able to write working software and explain graduate level science. In late 2025, elite engineers were handing over majority of their coding work to the AI to actually build softwares autonomously from a code perspective. And by February 2026, which is when this post was actually posted, the models which were arriving were exhibiting an independent taste and judgment and autonomy as well. They were so good, and they are getting better every other month. Every other month, there's a new update, there's a new feature, there's a new tool, there's a new skill that is better than the last. So now we are at a point where AI is actually reducing the time frame by which it actually takes a leap from one capability to the next capability, or from one level to the next level. So these are not incremental software updates, these are exponential leaps which are actually happening as we watch them. Over here, what we are looking at is the duration of autonomous end-to-end tasks execution, which is doubling every 4 to 7 months. This is actually a research which is done by an organization called Meta. And what they do is study how the model executes tasks that take a human expert maybe 5 hours to complete independently, and see how that model performs against the same task. And as you can see, Cloud Opus 4.5 by February got to a point where it can finish that 5 hour long task independently and get a very high score at that. And the projection is that within 1 to 3 years, models will be able to handle independent math long projects. The feedback loop right now has closed, and AI is now autonomously building the next generation of AI, and that's what you can see here. So right now, the tech companies, OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, and all the other big tech companies are actually using their own AI models to build the next generation of AI that they're then going to release. So it's a feedback loop of getting a faster, smarter generation which emerges from the previous AI actually building onto it. It writes its own codes for the successor after that, and it debugs its own training and manages deployment as well. So unlike historical automation, like for example when the factory started getting machines, labor workers were displaced and they actually started studying to get into the office. There was that wave where the job was taken, but then another job opportunity emerged. And that's exactly the paradigm shift over here, is that AI is not just replacing one specific skill. It's actually getting better at everything simultaneously. So whether it's assembly, whether it's logistics, whether it's the office, it's actually getting to a point where AI, with the machines as well, the robots, these are inventions which will actually come and take over the whole wave. The capability right now, and take this from someone who is actually using AI on a daily basis, the capability floor has already breached core white collar domains. I can say this confidently for myself, is that the role that I currently have, I can actually visualize how the process will be automated all the way from A to Z, of course, with a human in the loop to just do the approvals. And other jobs, are including like legal, which has reading contracts, summarizing case laws, drafting briefs, rivaling junior associates as well. Finance roles, software engineering roles, which as you very well know, is one of the first jobs which was targeted, medical jobs, content creation. And if your job happens to be on a screen, which is, reading, analyzing, deciding, communicating, AI will be coming for a significant part of that job. And by 2027, we may be competing with a digital nation of 50 million hyper intelligent citizens. The extreme upside of that is that we'll be compressing a century of medical research, like the cure of cancer, Alzheimer, aging, into a single decade. But the extreme risk on the other side is that the development of biological weapons may not be controllable, and surveillance as well may not be controllable. We may get the single most serious national security threat in the past century. This is the time for you to actually step out of the free tier and deeply integrate the Vanguard models into your messiest workflows. To me, it's really a matter of, I won't say life and death, but I feel like it's very close to that. It's not life and death, but it's very close to a point where you either understand these models, you either understand how they work, how this technology is working, and how it can benefit you to free up more time for yourself, or you, and I don't want to use these words, that you get left behind, but it looks like that's where the world is going. And the whole point of this post which went viral is that you need to understand how this technology works. Stop using the default models and choose the highest model for any provider that you're using. Sees the search engine behavior. Stop treating AI like it's a search engine, like it's Google, and feed it the messy data that you actually have in your workflows, in your own personal work, that it can actually go in and identify patterns and give solutions to it, and then you implement those solutions. So this is actually one thing that you can do to get yourself ahead of the curve. The other thing that you can do is build structural resilience by securing financial agility and anchoring into hard to replace domains. So any domains which require a physical presence or has a very heavily licensed accountability or has trust and relationship as the main driver of that particular domain, then you are kind of safe for the time being. And for the financial shields, you need to be able to minimize your fixed debts and build cash reserves according to the post, just to be able to make sure that in case anything happens to you, you're financially stable and things like that. These are not permanent immunities. These are just structural shields designed to buy you the most valuable asset, which is time. Something that I really want to emphasize, and I've realized this myself, is that the barrier to creation has really collapsed, which has offered an infinite leverage to those who actually engage with this technology. So think about it from a software perspective. You can just describe an application in English and have a working version deployed in an hour. Look at knowledge. You can access the ultimate tutor for yourself for a $20 per month fee, which is infinitely patient, available 24/7, and capable of teaching anything to you at any level. And creation as well. The frictional costs which pulled you back from actually moving from an idea to execution. By maybe you needed to create something, you needed like a professional software engineer to build a website, for example, to build our software, for example. Now that friction is no longer there. So the person who spends a year building what they love will outposition the person clinging to an outdated job description. Committing 1 hour a day to pushing AI limits will put you ahead of 99% of your peers in 6 months. So build the habit of 1 hour per day. Deeply commit yourself to understanding this technology, to using it, not just understanding it, but actually using it. In my perspective, the best way to actually understand is for you to use it daily. The reality is that almost no one is doing this right now. The bar to outcompete your industry is currently on the floor, and the goal is the specific tool does not matter. Building the mental muscle of rapid adaptation is the only durable advantage in the years which are coming. The future is already here, it just has not knocked on your door yet. So you should actually be out looking for the future. And the person who walks into a meeting today and says, I used AI to do this 3-day analysis in an hour, becomes the most valuable person in the room. If you're someone who understands this and actually resonates with it as well, I suggest you join our AI community, which is on WhatsApp, where we help each other out to understand this technology a step at a time, a day at a time. And whenever you have any questions or you have any doubts or you're struggling somewhere, you can always look forward to someone to help you in the community. Cheers.